Hello and welcome back to the MCR. My name is Mac. My co-host this morning is TJ. We are the MCR, and we're going to talk about mass shootings. And I have thrown out this question many times, and I think TJ's thrown it out as well. These mass shootings we have in various places, particularly schools. We have always had guns, but we haven't always had mass shootings. So something has changed. And what is that thing that changed? We could go into a whole bunch of reasons, but Robert Kennedy Jr., Democratic candidate for president, who I do not support, will not support, but on a few items he makes some sense. And one of them is this topic. He, on Bill Maher's show, said that he believes Prozac and video games account for the rise in mass shootings and not guns. The availability of guns is not there because we've always had them. Any thoughts so far? Do you agree with that statement that he made?
Well, for starters, when you go back to the Prohibition era, you could, if you recall, you could walk into your gun store and like almost, I don't know the exact year the law went into effect, but you could buy automatic weapons back then. That the Tommy
Sure.
gun, the BAR, that kind of stuff. And you didn't see people going there buying them things and then going on a mass shooting spree. I mean, you had organized crime out the wazoo, but
yeah.
But as far as what we got going on today with these kids going into a school and having at it.
These are the people they know. In some cases, with the Nashville shooter, a transgender male, I think I'm saying that right, went into the school and shot up the place. Didn't know anyone there.
Yeah, and the suspicion might be, getting jacked up on steroids is the possibility there too, or added effect.
Those things are meant to change you, and they do. Now, this Prozac, I mean, if you're a little excitable as a kid, kids got energy like nobody's business. Back in the 60s, they took a college athlete, I think it was an athlete from UCLA or USC, and they had him imitate every move his 2-year-old made in this study. And he couldn't keep up with the kid. He didn't last like an hour or two because the kids are dynamo. So what they do, you know what? I don't like my kid running around all the time. Here, doc, put him on some drug to slow him down. The Prozac commercials back years ago, they would say may cause suicidal thoughts. And, these are things that are supposed to prevent. Like most of these pharmaceuticals, they often cause what they are designed to stop. But so you know what? If your kid's too hyper and you don't want to be bothered with them, pack them full of drugs. And Prozac isn't the only one. But he also mentions video games. I think video games jade people to thinking killing is okay.
And this is where we get into a quagmire of sorts. I've always had concerns that from a psychological perspective, someone who plays and I'm just going to say Call of Duty, okay?
Yeah.
But it could be anything similar to that, where or even if you're some sci-fi thing where you're killing aliens or something. Any game where psychologically speaking, it's the termination of life, whatever it may be. I always wondered, does the individual become immune to that? I mean, that type of stuff. I mean,
sure. You're describing a sociopath, and they're getting to be more and more of them every day. And there again, let's look at that. I mean, are these drugs causing that kind of behavior?
Personally, I don't find any gratification in those kind of games. But ever since those types of games became prevalent, that was always a concern in the back of my mind.
Well, they've talked for years about violence on television and how violence, it doesn't show the effects of the violence. You don't see the person really dead. You don't see the loss to the family. You don't see the impact on society in these movies. Boom, you shoot a guy and he goes down. Well, that often isn't how it happens, as you well know, having been shot yourself.
It doesn't seem to bother, I'll say, the normal mind,
Well, I'll give you an example of it. The gal who plays Lily in the AT&T commercials? She's a Russian gal, very attractive. I read a quote about her, about abortion. I can have an abortion and go get a cup of coffee. Or a video we did a long time ago, maybe not, I don't know how long ago it was, but we did a video in the past called This Is Effed Up, about a girl saying she was all into her urban hand gestures and, bye, bitch.
Yeah. I mean, just the coarseness.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind how.
I've always said we don't have a gun problem, but we definitely have a morals problem, and I think that's what you were getting at there.
Yeah, the spiritual problem,
Right.
and just the whole gratification of terminating of life in whatever manner it's accomplished,
Well, presidential candidate RFK Jr., Democrat for president, is suggesting we need to really look at this and not so much at guns. Look for the other source, because he said what we said. You've always had guns, but you haven't always had shooting. So there's another factor in play. You should be looking at what that other factor is rather than trying to take my gun, or, if you drunk drive, they should take my car kind of mentality so that I don't do it. So presumptive crimes, presumptive prosecutions is what they want. So unless you have anything else, I'm going to wrap it up there.
No, I just I find it all disconcerting that to the coarseness of it all, the just being immune from what ought to be, someone ought to take as being offensive,
Well, I think you nailed it when you said it's a spiritual issue, because if there is no God, then there is no right and there is no wrong. I don't think people realize where their morals come from in this country.
Yeah.
They just think that, well, the law says, well, I didn't vote for the law. And who are you to impose a law on me? I'm an individual.
Yeah.
So that's the thinking. I do believe that if there is no God, and that's what a lot of people, more and more people are thinking, that, then there is no wrong. So if I come over to your house and shoot you in the head because I like your wife, I'll be like King David and take your place. Then who says it's wrong?
Yeah.
All right. With that, we'll close it up with be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on us.